Now I have to be serious for a moment. Anyways, this morning we dealt with Nehemiah 1 and we talked about Nehemiah 2. We didn't read the scriptures, but we're going to be in Nehemiah 3 this afternoon. I talked about going forward with the lesson as what it was this morning. If you're trying to find it, it's right after Ezra and right in front of Esther and Job. I think it's Job. Am I wrong? Yep, Job, Esther. Then right before Esther is Nehemiah. Right after the nice little book of Ezra, the 11 chapters in Ezra. Anyways, Nehemiah chapter 3, it deals with the vision that Nehemiah had. This morning we dealt with how he was talking to the king and how he had his desire was to build the wall back for Jerusalem. And tonight we're going to deal with the topic and subject, a call to unity and purpose. And he got a bunch of people together in this chapter, and we'll see it here in just a few minutes. It's going to be a lot of reading because it's 32 verses, but we're going to deal with the whole chapter, and I'm going to read it here in just a second. But let's go ahead and dive straight into the reading, then I'll get to the introduction of what we're going to be talking about tonight. Then Eliashib, the high priest, rose up with his brethren in verse 1 of chapter 3. The priest, and they builded the sheep gate, and they sanctified it and set up the doors of it, even unto the tower Mia, they sanctified it, and the tower of Hananeel, and next unto him builded the men of Jericho, and next unto them builded Zechor, the son of Emri. But the fish gate did the sons of Heshaniah build, who also laid the beams thereof, and set up the floors thereof, and locks thereof, and the bars thereof. And next unto them repaired Meremoth, the son of Urijah, the son of Koz, and next unto them repaired Mushalem, the son of Baracha, the son of Meshabel, the son, and next unto them repaired Zadok, the son of Benaiah, and I'm going to slaughter some of these names, so just be prepared. Anyways, the next unto them the Tokites repaired, but their nobles put not their neck to the work of their Lord. Moreover, the old gate repaired Jehoiada, the son of Pasha, and Meshullam, the son of Bosada. They laid the beams thereof, and set up the doors thereof, and the locks thereof, and the bars thereof. And next unto them repaired Melithah, the Gibeonite, and Jadon, the Marathonite, the men of Gibeon and of Mizpah, into the throne of the governor on the side of the river. Next unto them repaired Azil, the son of Horiah, of the goldsmith. Next unto them repaired Hananiah, the son of the Apothecarites, and they fortified Jerusalem unto the broad wall. Now, y'all wondering why I'm going through all these names. I'll get back to it in just a second, why we're announcing all these names, and I'm trying not to slaughter them, but I am. In verse 9, it says, and next unto them repaired Raphaniah, the son of Hur, the ruler of half the part of Jerusalem, and next unto them repaired Jedidiah, the son of Heramoth, even over against his house, and next unto them repaired Huthish, the son of Hashbaniah, Malajah, the son of Haram, and Hushab, the son of Felhath Moab, repaired the other piece and the tower of the furnace. And next unto them repaired Shulem, the son of Holashesh. Now, like I said, anyways, the ruler of half part of Jerusalem, he and his daughters. The valley gate repaired Hunan, and the inhabitants of Zonah. They built it and set up the doors thereof, the locks thereof, and the bars thereof, and 1,000 cubits of the wall unto the dung gates. But the dung gate repaired Malachi, the son of Recheb, and the ruler of part of Beth Harachim. He built it and set up the doors thereof, the locks thereof, and the bars thereof. But the gates and the fountains repaired Shulem, the son of Kolahaz, the ruler of part of Meshpah. He built it and covered it and set up the doors thereof, and the locks thereof, and the bars thereof, and the walls of the pools of Shalom by the king's garden, and unto the stairs go down from the city of David. After him repaired Nehemiah, the son of Ashbuk. the ruler of the half of the part of Belteshazzar, unto the place that over against the sepulchre of David, and the pool that was made, and unto the house of the mighty. After him repaired the Levites, Rehum, the son of Benai. Next unto him repaired Heshbonai, the ruler of the half of the part of Keilah, in his part. After him repaired their brethren, Bevi, the son of Henadad, and the ruler of the half the part of Keilah. And next unto him repaired Ezar, the son of Jeshua, the ruler of Mezbah. Another piece over against the going up of the armory and at the turning of the wall. After him, Baruch, the son of Zebiah, earnestly repaired the other piece from the turning of the wall unto the door of the house of Elishib, the high priest. And after him repaired Meremoth, the son of Urijah, the son of Koz, and another piece from the door of the house of Elishib, even to the end of the house of Elishib. And after him repaired the priest, the men of the plain. And after him repaired Benjamin and Heshub over against their house. After him repaired Ezra, the son of Mishiah, the son of Anani, by his house. After him repaired Benu, the son of Henadad, again another piece from the house of Ezra, unto the turning of the wall, even unto the corner. Palel, the son of Uzziah, over against the turning of the wall in the tower which lieth out from the king's house, high house, that was by the court of the prison. After him, Penadiah, the son of Parash. Moreover, the Nethinims dwelt in Ophel, unto the place over against the water toward the east, and to the tower that lieth out. After that, the Techites repaired another piece over against the great tower that lieth out, even unto the wall of Ophel. From above the horse gate repaired the priest every one over against his house. And after them repaired Zadok, the son of Imar, over against his house. After him repaired also Shimei, the son of Zechiah, the keeper of the gate. Now remember that, the keeper of the gate. After him repaired Hananiah, the son of Shilemi, and Hanan, the 60 sons of Zeleph. Another piece. After him repaired Meshullam, the son of Baracha, over against his chambers. After him repaired Malachi, the goldsmith's son, unto the place of the Nethinims, and of the merchants over against the gate of Mechphakad, and to the going up of the corner. And between the going up of the corner unto the sheep gate repaired the goldsmith and the merchants. You say, why do we just read all those names in all those places? See, it's important to realize this. In everything I just read, it started with a vision. In Nehemiah chapter 1 and Nehemiah chapter 2 dealt with the vision that Nehemiah had for the homeland that was destroyed. And you say, we ain't even got to the main part yet. There's still more to come, because as it goes on, it talks about more and more at where they built and how they built. And chapter 4 goes on a little bit further in describing exactly what they were doing when they were building. And yes, I'm going to push this into another week. So next week, Sunday, Lord willing, I'm going to be dealing with Nehemiah chapter 4, so I'm not going to talk about it too much tonight. But I want to talk about this topic for just a moment, a call to unity and purpose. In the middle of building everything that they built, the dream that he had, the vision that Nehemiah had, was to see the city built again. See, in Nehemiah's relationship, we see that Nehemiah was the leader that drew the vision that he had for the people. And without the vision of Nehemiah, none of this would have began. None of this would have even started, because his desire, he was a cupbearer for the king, like we spoke this morning. And in his desire, and with his heart's desire and his dreams, it was to see the city built once again. But notice, with his vision, something happened. With the people to follow him, he was able to go out and start the building. But notice what's important about the starting of the building. See, it wasn't just one person's vision and that one person go to work. Each name that we listed was a man and his people that went together and started building a section of the wall that the other people could not build. See, there's importance to a vision, but there's also importance to unity. See, each person, each noble, each prince, each priest, everybody had to come together for a purpose. It isn't about letting one person do all the work while somebody else supervised. As we see, Nehemiah himself went out and worked on the wall also. So in the midst of building this wall, everything that was done, one person repaired a section of the wall, and another person took from where that person built and continued it on. It's no different than when a pastor steps in a pulpit with a vision for a church. As his vision goes, the next person has to pick it up. If nobody picks that vision up and continues with it, it just stops right there where he stopped building. There's many a churches today that had a vision long time ago to see the walls bust out, to see people filling the church house, people on fire for God. But what has happened to that vision is people have given up on it. Whether or not it's the pastor that has given up or the people that have given up themselves. You say that ain't correct English. It isn't. But here's the truth. We have given up on the very desires that we have had from the beginning of times. You say, what was your desire when you stepped into church? My desire was to see the church full, but not just the people. To see a church full of people that loved God and wanted to serve God. Now, most people would hurt and be upset if somebody was to walk out the doors and never return. Yes, it is a hurting feeling. Yes, it does not feel the best, but at the same time, you want the people that God has for the place to fill the place. We don't need to fill the place with just bodies. We need to fill the place with people that are on fire for God. And see, in this instance, Nehemiah had a vision, and he had a bunch of people that were on the same plane as he was that wanted to see the same thing happen. See, when his vision came, the diversity began because not everybody thought the same, but everyone had the same desire. That is what is important when we see a church grow or anything grow. We need to see people that have a desire to see God's work go on and see it move forward. And when we see that happen, we see things getting done like it's supposed to be. See, when the wall was being rebuilt, one man got up and built from the sheep gate and on to the setting up of the doors and even further and sanctified it and the towers. And next thing you know, the next person walks in and they build it up and they continued on building the wall. And the next man walks up and says, okay, I got the start of the foundation. I got the finishing place of where this man started and stopped. Now I can continue on with the work and move it to the next place. And before you know it, there's enough people to circle around. And next thing you see is the wall is starting to go up one piece at a time. But this is what happens if one person gives up on the dream and stops building the wall. See, the person that was beside him can't go over here and start building his section. They have to continue on with their section. But what happens if you leave a section down? The enemy will come in. So that's why it's important to have more than one person building on the same section. If everybody has a dream and has a vision, and the pastor of a church has a vision for the church to grow or a vision and direction that the church should go, it's no different than Nehemiah when he had a vision to see Jerusalem rebuilt and see everything come back together like it once was. You say, do you want to see everything like it once was at a church? No. I want to see it better. Nehemiah didn't build it exactly like it was. He built it back better. Because the difference was he had a nation of people united for one purpose. As we see it come together, as we see the work coming together in Nehemiah 3, verses 6 through 12, we see the old gate being repaired. We see the laying of the beams and the setting up of the doors. We see the locks and the bars, and we see everything as it starts coming together piece by piece. And the more they build, the more they do, the more they accomplish, they can look around and say, look what God has done. Notice if they would have sat there and looked around and said, look what I have done, what could have happened? When pride seeks into a church or seeks into a work, in an ethic, and even into a vision, when we have pride infiltrating into it, it will destroy every part of it, starting at the foundation. But see, a lot of times what happens is we see the vision, we bring the unity together, but we won't work together. Me and Kathy was talking on the way here from the house, coming up here this afternoon, and we're sitting there talking about pastors, and I'm just going to say it straight out. It's on Facebook Live. I don't care. I'm not going to blast anybody. I'm not going to say how wrong somebody is, but it's sad when we seek to destroy somebody else for whatever reason. And we do it live where other people can see it. It doesn't edify anything by destroying another man on Facebook. All that does is hide us behind a screen and say we're doing something good, but what we're really doing is turning people away from God. See, we can't unite on every front, and I guarantee every man that was standing there building this wall did not agree on everything. I guarantee they had a different way they would have done it, or the different way they would have built it, or another way they would have done it to make sure it was right. But here's the thing. It wasn't their vision. Sometimes we got to realize we need to dress around our own household before we dress somebody else's. We need to work on our own church instead of worrying about everyone else's church. We need to quit worrying about what's going on around us and realize we have a family, we have a nucleus, we have a group that we need to worry about more than anything else. Because if we don't do it, who else will? See, if Nehemiah would have walked up to one person and say, hey, you're doing this wrong, you need to do it this way. That brick is laid at an angle that ain't quite right. And when this person goes to start building this wall over here, this section of the wall, that section right there is going to make this section look bad. And that's what we have become as a group. We decide that this is not the right way, so I'm going to go correct it. And in the middle of correcting it, we're destroying the wheat that everybody else has already planted. You're trying to draw out somebody that's wrong, but you're wrong yourself. And I kind of went on a tangent there. But that's the reason why I'm saying that, because we need to work together. We might not agree on every aspect. We might not agree on how everything must be built and how it must be all formed. But at the end of the time, are we glorifying God with what we're doing? Because notice right there in verse 5, it says, and next unto them, Tochithites repaired, but the nobles put not their necks to the work of their Lord. And notice that is a capital L. They would not do anything for the work for the Lord. Why did they put that in the Bible? That's the only one that ever spoke in chapter 3 about the Lord. It says, but the nobles put not their necks to the work of their Lord. He didn't call them out exactly by name, but he did call them out saying, these are the nobles that would not do right. But let's go on and let's move forward. It says, moreover, the old gate repaired Jehoiada, the son of Pesha. And I might have pronounced that wrong, but who cares? Let's see. See, he didn't dwell on the fact that they were not doing the work. He moved on to the people that were doing the work and continued forth. He pointed it out, but he didn't stop there. He said, all right, they're not going to do it. Let's get somebody else. There's somebody else going to do it. We must realize when the work is going forward, we must continue working no matter if somebody else is working or not. Whether or not they're leading right or whether they're leading wrong, we need to continue pushing forward with the work that God's given us. Because in the doing of the works, we'll see great things happening. Just, if we look at the importance of teamwork, see, here's the funny thing. Nehemiah couldn't build the wall by himself. Nehemiah could have started the wall, but he could not finish it by himself. There was importance to having a group of people around him to help him build, and people that had a vision similar to his. See, as they work together, you got to see something happen. But notice what happens also. In Nehemiah 3:13 through 32, it says the valley gate was repaired, and the inhabitants of Zonah, they built it and set up the doors thereof, and the locks thereof, and the bars thereof, and 1,000 cubits of the wall unto the dung gate. You know what the dung gate is? That's where they threw all the nasty stuff out. You would say they got one of the worst jobs that anybody else could do. They had to repair the worst section of the wall. But they did it. But notice who had to repair the dung gate. Malachi, the son of Rechab, the ruler of part of, notice, most of these people were listed as rulers, not as servants, but rulers. They had high rank and still did the work. We also notice there's a persistence in adversity. We must continue working. We must continue building no matter what somebody else thinks or what somebody else says. We must continue doing exactly what God has for us. And in the continuance of this work, we can see God's hand working in our lives. And as people see God working, because it isn't about us, it's about people seeing who God is, and in the persistence of doing the work that God has set forth, we could see his hand working in our lives, and others could see it working also. And Nehemiah 4 would kind of go along real well with this because of how they had to work. But we'll get there next week. But it continued in the building of the wall. They continued doing exactly, even in the worst parts of building of the wall, they did it because they knew they had to. See, the reason they had to build doors and set bars and all these things is because people were seeking to kill them. Because nobody wanted to see Jerusalem rebuilt to its former glory. And let's be honest. There's probably people that don't want to see Academy Road restored back to its former glory. You say, what is its former glory? Its former glory would be the fire for God. Not for man, but the fire for God. See, many people do not want to see it, but guess what? When the people get on fire for God, when people get a desire to do God's work, it's bound to happen. But also notice the glory of God in rebuilding. In verse 31 and 32, after him repaired Malachi the goldsmith's son, unto the place of Nethium and of the merchants over against the gate of Mechpakad, and the going up of the corners, and between the going up of the corners unto the sheep gate, repaired the goldsmith and the merchants. You say, what is it talking about? The glory of God in rebuilding. Many times we don't see the hand of God working until you see the work going. Could you imagine walking around looking at the rubble of what used to be? Then all of a sudden you have a group of people putting the walls back together, restoring the former parts of the building, restoring the walls and getting the walls going up. And as the walls are going up, you're seeing God's hand work, because it's only by God that this work was even started. Because if you go back and read Nehemiah chapter 1 and chapter 2 and go into chapter 3, you start realizing that in Nehemiah 2, the king could have fair well said, no, that's not going to happen. We're not going to allow Jerusalem to rebuild their kingdom. We're not going to allow this to happen, but yet he still let him do it. And not only did he let Nehemiah do it, he supplied all the material to rebuild it. You know what most people don't realize? Is God will use the devil to do his work. and even allow him to pay for it sometimes. I don't think y'all realize what I just said. God allowed the devil to do his work and pay for it sometimes. See, you say, what are you calling the king a devil? No, I'm not calling him the devil. But yet at the same time, he allowed the devil to think he has won in destroying of the city, but yet then again, he'll turn around and use the very funds that he thought to destroy everything with and rebuild it again. You say, what are you talking about? I'm talking about God can use somebody that ain't saved and not born again, not trusting in God, not knowing God, and still use him to do good, even though he don't know he's doing it that way. See, a lot of people think they're kind of funny, and I shared this story once before about a preacher that he talked about how one of the members of his church kept saying that he was going to starve him out and he was going to prove that God wasn't on his side and all this, and I'm kind of paraphrasing a little bit for the sake of time, but the preacher was having to suffer, and he didn't have much food in the pantry. They didn't have much food at all, and yet he continued on and praying and praying and praying, and the guy said, I'm going to teach him something. I'm going to go out, and I'm going to buy him groceries, and I'm going to set it on his door. And he did it. And when the preacher walks out, the guy knocked on the door, hid around the corner for just a second. The preacher comes out, grabs the groceries, and starts thanking God for the groceries because he didn't have nothing in the pantry. And the guy walks around the corner and says, you think you're God for them groceries, but I'm the one that bought them. The preacher then looks at the guy and says, what do you think I'm going to say? God allowed the devil to buy me groceries. You say that ain't a good illustration. That ain't good to call someone a devil, but here's the truth. When you think you're doing something to hurt somebody, you very well could be helping them in the end. You thought you were going to prove, he thought he was going to prove that his God wasn't good enough, but what he ended up doing is allowing that preacher to see his God work through somebody that normally God wouldn't work through. See, it's amazing what God can do if we allow him to do it. And seeing this wall being built, you know that it had to be the hand of God because he used a king that knew not God to supply everything that was needed to build the wall. So at the end of the day, when we look throughout this vision and see what's happening, what can we use in our everyday life? It's realizing that the vision will come. And when the vision comes, God will provide the funds and the way to do it and how to do it, and he will provide the people that he needs to have in place. So what do we say? When there's one or two in a church service, whether there's 50 or 60 in a church service, God will provide exactly who he needs when he needs it. And he might even use the devil to do it. So if the devil walks in and puts a check in the offering, guess what? God allowed the devil to work. You say, am I after money? No, I'm not after money. I'm just using that as an illustration. But tonight we need to realize we need to unite. Unite for one vision and one vision only is to see God's work, not ours. And then next week, Sunday morning, Lord willing, or unless something changes, we're going to be dealing with Nehemiah chapter 4, where it talks about how they were working and what they were using to build the wall, or how they were building the wall with what they were using. So let's go ahead this week and let's prepare as we see God work in our everyday life. And just because something comes that might be and might kind of seem hard to take, it might very well be God trying to show us something in our life. God's trying to help us. Are we going to allow him? Dear Heavenly Father, we just want to thank you, dear Lord, for this day. Thank you for the blessing you've given us. I just pray, dear Heavenly Father, that you would work in our lives and show us you more and more each day. For we need you more today than we've ever have before. For we ask these things in your precious holy name. Amen.